Hi, and welcome to this webinar about efficient meeting scheduling in Outlook. This is for companies using Office 365. My name is Gertrude, and with me today I have my colleague Anna. I am the International Project Manager here at Pronestor. I'm responsible for projects for our international partners and their clients. We're hosting this webinar today to talk about meetings. Here at Pronestor, we have a mission to optimizing the entire process for meetings. Everything from booking the meeting to begin with, all the way to receiving the guest in the reception. As I said, I have Anna with me who's gonna help me go through all of this.
Yes, my name is Anna. I'm the Commercial Product Director here at Pronestor. I'm basically responsible for connecting the dots between the technical development and the market needs and doing all that we can to make our customers happy. And much can be said about the number of meetings we attend during the day and the efficiency of these meetings, but that's not going to be part of the agenda today, as it would be a bit too much to dive into.
Exactly. So what we're going to do today is we're going to stick with three major obstacles that we hear from our companies or our clients. These obstacles are, first of all, finding an available meeting room, finding a meeting room with the right equipment, and lastly, all the services around the meeting, making sure that these are in place. What are you going to tell us today, Anna?
Well, in a few minutes, I'm going to take you through the entire booking process using Pronestor Planner connected with Pronestor Visitor and show you how you can easily book a meeting room, help your external participants find their way to your office, as well as making sure that the receptionists has the information about the visitors throughout the day.
Before we get to that, I'm just going to inform you that you're able to ask questions throughout the presentation. Do so in the chat on your right-hand side. All attendees are able to see the questions, but will only be able to see your first name. So Anna, when I visit clients and potential clients, we always talk about meetings and meeting rooms. And what I hear them discussing are that they sometimes feel like they're lacking meeting rooms, or they find it difficult to find a meeting room that has the exact equipment that they need for their meeting setup. I know many of them will use functions as Outlook and using the room features in Outlook to book these meeting rooms, but that is not your suggestion. So what is your suggestion for booking a meeting room in the most efficient way?
Well, I think you're right that a lot of companies use Outlook for this, and using Outlook can be perfectly fine if you're a smaller company doing some rather simple bookings. But as soon as your company grows a bit in size, there's just much more to it than just finding a room. Because people in the organizations today are very busy with their responsibilities and their daily tasks. So remembering the names of each meeting room, remembering where they're located, what kind of equipment is present in the different rooms, as well as the number of seats in the different rooms, just isn't your top priority or top of mind.
So what you're saying is using the Outlook room booking feature is perfectly fine for a smaller company with just a few meeting rooms, and then as soon as you go into a big company with several meeting rooms and several services around a meeting, you would use something more efficient for that, for instance, Planner.
Yes, I would definitely recommend using what we could call a dedicated solution for this that's able to handle the entire process. So we hear about some major obstacles that people are struggling with when they are using or booking rooms, which first of all is the amount of time they spend finding an available room. Secondly, they have to figure out if this room they've booked actually has the appropriate equipment for the meeting they're having. Then they have to make sure that the reception is aware and informed about the external participants that will show up. And lastly, they may have other service providers, such as catering staff, that needs to be able to deliver the orders and have all this handled in one simple flow and save time.
So we're talking a lot about saving time as well, which I guess is super important for everyone. We always want to save time, but also how you're able to book everything in one flow. Guests, catering, equipment, the room, of course.
Yes.
Okay, well, can you show me some of this?
Of course I can. So I'll just go to my Outlook. Yes, and you'll see it. That's good. Then I will create an appointment just as you know it. And all the features you have in Outlook here work just as it does normally. Then I will start out by giving a title for the meeting. I will invite some guests. One of them could be you because you're so smart.
Thank you.
Then I will invite an external participant, and I'll just add a Teams link to make sure and everything works just as you know it. Then I can go to this icon, which is the Pronestor Planner add-in for Outlook, if you have Office 365. And then this opens. Yeah, now we have some, of course, technical difficulty. Okay, it's there. Good. So what you have here is the overview page where I can see that we are 3 people in total, 1 internal, 2 external, or 2 internal, 2 externals. Then I have the add room option. If I click this, I will be shown all the meeting rooms that are available for bookings in the time slot that I have my meeting. If I scroll down, you can see that some are unavailable. All of these rooms are sorted compared to the size of the room or the number of seats. And that is compared to the number of participants that we are in this meeting. So we are being suggested the smaller rooms because we're only 3 people. If I need to make sure, for instance, that I have a smartboard available in my meeting or in this meeting for us, I'll just click smartboard and add this as a requirement. Then the list is updated and I only see rooms that has this kind of equipment. I'll simply click a room and then my room is booked. And what I can just add is, as soon as I activate this add-in, all the external participants in my meeting are automatically registered in the visitor part of the solutions.
That's smart. When I visit our clients, I'm always served coffee, tea, croissants, whatever. Can you do that here? Like, can you book that through this?
So in the same add-in, in the same flow, I can simply click Add Catering. Then I'm presented with the menu that's available that we can choose from. I'll just add a bit of coffee for us and maybe some croissants as well, because that's always a good thing. And I'll add this. And now I have added the catering for the same booking or the same meeting. If I need some kind of equipment that's not available in the room, then I can have just click this, and then I can add something extra for the meeting. So now I have created a booking where I have my participants. I've booked a room for us. I have added my catering, and I've added some additional equipment that I know I'm going to be needing for this meeting. So in one simple flow, this is done. I'll click Save, and then I'll simply just send the invitation for you.
So everyone using Office 365 can actually have this add-in and do all their ordering for a meeting in your invitation. So you don't even have to go into another system.
No, it's all done in one flow.
That is super smart. You mentioned something about making the reception aware of your external guests, but is there a way to actually helping the external guests finding your office in an easier way?
So if you activate the feature that we call visitor boarding card, then once you're invited to a meeting, then you will receive this. We've made an example here for you to see. This is the visitor boarding card that the external guests will receive. You have the title of the meeting, you have the contact information for the host of your meeting, then you have the date and time, as well as the exact address. And we've even put this into a map that will show you where the office is located. And now I clicked it. That was an accident, sorry.
But I can see it's opening in the back.
Yes, it is actually. So now
That's
you can
smart.
use the Google Maps wayfinding services. But if you scroll down, then you also have some general information that will tell you a bit about the information you need when you show up and you need to find a parking lot. We have some check-in information here that I'll go through in a minute. And then we've added something about in case of emergency, how should I respond as a guest? And all of this is, of course, things that you configure on your own for your organization and your visitor boarding cards.
Okay, so I can decide what I want for information, what kind of information I want to give my guests.
Exactly. And then as a guest, when I show up, if you have the visitor self-registration, then you can simply have a screen, actually a big screen in your reception where you will show this, and then I can do the check-in. I can either scan the QR code that I received in the visitor boarding card, I can enter a check-in code, or I can enter my name.
So the QR code and the check-in code, that was what you saw in the bottom?
Exactly, in the visitor boarding card, so it's ready when you show up. Then I will enter the check-in code now, and I think I have it here, yes. I'll click check-in, and that's it. And as you can see here, my host, the host for my meeting, will automatically be notified that I have arrived.
This is super simple. I mean, this is a really easy way to actually coming into a building and not having to go to the reception. I mean, sometimes we see a long line in receptions, or we have unmanned receptions. So in that case, I really see this working perfectly. It can supplement the receptionist as well if they are super busy. But
exactly.
What about the reception? What do they see? Like, how can they get advantage of this solution?
I'll show you in a minute, but I just want to pick up on what you said. Exactly. We see our clients using this for the unmanned receptions, so people can enter, register on their own, and then the host is automatically notified, and you don't have to spend any resources on this. Or you can have it along with your receptionist. So when I enter as a guest, I can either go to the reception and talk to a person to get registered, or I can use this service on my own. And then, as I just said, if I am a receptionist at a company using this, then this is what I'll see. Just have it on the screen in a minute. A second. Perfect. So as you can see, I have a calendar and the dates. Now we're on today's guests. I can see what time my guests will show up during the day. I can see the name and the company they're from. And then I have the relevant internal information about the meetings and who the hosts are. So if a guest comes up to me as a receptionist and tells me their name, then I can simply find them on the list. I'll click this little green icon, and then the guest is checked in and removed from the list of pre-registered guests. If I then go to the check-in list, you'll see here, then you can see that I have checked in this guest, where she's from and who she's visiting. And then I can go to the list called checked out. And here I'll be able to see which guests has been in the building today in a meeting and has been checked out as well.
So you actually have an overview of everyone in the house, without, of course, the employees of the
only external
office,
participants, yes.
Okay.
And I also have actually for the coming days, the people that has been invited. So I have a chance of preparing and knowing how many guests will arrive on the different days.
That is super smart. So what you're saying is that if you have an organization with a more complex setup, this can be handled as well, like even more complicated than what we're seeing here.
Today, I've taken you through a rather simple process just to make you aware of how this works. But we definitely support clients with some very complicated setups where we handle everything from the room bookings, equipment bookings, the catering menus and the catering orders. And then we also handle all the data needed for making the workday work. So we make sure that the that the catering staff and such has the data they need for production and for delivery. And then we also add the data that you might need for any invoicing afterwards.
So you're combining everything in one flow. So what you're saying is that all the things that we said earlier with booking the meeting, the right meeting room, the guests, the services around it, adding catering, but also being able to use all of this data to optimizing your process, or even analyzing on how you use the buildings or your meeting rooms in general, and then using it for invoicing.
Yes.
Okay.
So we have the data, yes, and we make it available.
That is super smart. Well, thank you so much for your very thorough introduction. I think we are already ready for some questions.
Yes.
Please write them in the chat. I'm going to find my little laptop here with.
And I can see we've already had one question. So, will you?
Yeah, I can read out loud. Can visitor boarding card be used if we have multiple locations or offices?
Yes. For each location or office that you have in Pronestor Planner Solution, you can create specific visitor boarding cards for each location with the exact address and also the relevant information needed if you have different information for the different locations. So that's not an issue at all.
Is that when you're booking this in the Outlook add-in, I saw in the top that there was a location. Is it also
exactly.
something that you can change depending on
Yes.
where you want to host the meeting?
Exactly. So you can either change from your standard or preferred location to another location, or you can actually add several locations in one booking if you need to help your colleagues in other offices or locations with the bookings themselves for them.
That's super smart. I think it's really smart with the visitor boarding card because you know where to go
Exactly.
with that.
And then, of course, we all know, I think, when we arrive somewhere and we need to find a parking lot and we don't know the rules about parking near that office we're visiting. So having the option of writing these details that you have to go to reception to pick up some kind of slip or something like that, that's a good help to have in advance. Oh, and we have a question?
We have a question from Anne who's asking if the QR code can be utilized with other systems like key door systems. I'm thinking like speed gates or something like that maybe?
Exactly. So if you have speed gates or you need to unlock the doors when the meeting starts, something like that, then we can use either QR codes for some of the parts, and just generally the data from Pronestor Planner can be put into play with a lot of other systems based on the API that we have.
That is brilliant. Another one. Yeah. How do you reschedule a booking, and will the meeting room automatically be cancelled or moved with the new booking?
Well, I think we all know this, that you book a meeting and then at some point you have to reschedule it or move it to another day, another time during the day. It's simply done through Outlook. You can just, as you usually do, open your Outlook appointment, set the new time and date or whatever you need to change it to, and then save the changes, and it will be transferred to Pronestor Planner as well, and the entire flow will be updated.
So catering, reception, visitor boarding card, everything.
All the details will be handled as soon as you click send or save.
Brilliant.
Yes, we think so too.
I'm not sure if we have any more questions. I think somebody's typing.
Yes, we'll just give them a few seconds to type.
Yeah.
Then we'll see. Yes, but it's, I mean, we're so proud when we present this.
Yeah.
I think we've gathered some good features here. So we have another question.
Can you see the room you want to book?
Yes, if you can see it, you can, when you create your solutions or your meeting rooms, you can add a picture of the specific room. So as the user in Pronestor Planner, I can see what the room looks like. And then if you consider the equipment or other details that's available, then I would just use the filter to choose the things I need, as I showed you before.
Okay, so I can say, okay, I need a room with, as you mentioned, with I can't remember if it was a whiteboard or a projector or things like that. Yeah.
Then I'll just click this feature and make sure that this kind of equipment is available in the meeting room that I'm booking.
Okay, I don't see any more questions coming in. So thank you so much for your time. I know we ended a little short, but meetings are supposed to be efficient, not long just for the fun of it. So thank you so much for taking your time to participating. If you want a more thorough introduction to any of this, or you just have some questions, comments, anything that you would like an answer to, please write us directly. We are more than happy to help you with anything. Thank you so much.